the welfare state also made an incentive, oh my gosh, for people to be lazy. We out here in these streets. But it's been a great day. We're talking about the Black divide. Over the years, now I was born in 19 something. I don't want to tell my age. Does it even matter if a guy tells us his age? I look good for my age. But I was born. I'm old enough. I don't know if I should say my age. I feel embarrassed. No, I don't care. I'm 40 years old, yo. Like, you see this good-looking dude? I'm 40 years old. I was born in 1979, so I've been around to see a few changes over the years. Obviously, my teen years were in the 90s, so the best years, I'm like, they call me, some posts say that I'm a millennial, and then others says I'm an Xer. I kind of believe that I'm both. I mean, I'm old enough to understand the Generation X, but I'm young enough to understand technology, right? Because my generation was the people that made the technology. No, stop. But I've noticed a divide within our community. I remember it went from us being somewhat cohesive, and I'm gonna say somewhat because during the 80s and 90s they were doing all that the welfare, and I'm gonna talk about how that affected our us being divided, and during the 80s and 90s that's what happened, and we were all about togetherness, coming together. I mean, even though we were coming together as hoods, kind of the rise of gang popularity, everything was about hoods. Everybody was about your crew. Everything was about this. This is what happens in the 90s, right? So obviously these gangs have been around for years, but our gangs weren't necessarily dangerous at first, from what I understand. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Most of our gangs weren't about being dangerous, like selling drugs and stuff like that. We were about protecting our own. We started those gangs like or like the Gangs of Disciple, Growth and Development, Vice Lords and stuff like that. All that stuff started about protecting our own, not necessarily trying to be in the criminal underworld. It kind of developed into that. But we were about cohesiveness. If you ever looked at some of the old school rap, like the Digaboo Planets and the Wu-Tangs and the No Limits and I'm going back in the day. Man, like, and not even some of the solo artists like the L Cool J's and KRS-Ones and all these people, they did a lot of collabs. They were in these crews. Like, we had crews. We don't have a lot of crews nowadays. Everybody's like individual artists. Like, remember singing groups, Jodeci and what is it? Boys to Men, Silk, Shy, all these H-Town, my God, woo, there's a meeting. That's not H-Town, but that's still in my. I ain't gonna sing that because this is Christian radio, right? No, I don't care. But anyways, our music reflected our togetherness, right? So we had groups, we had crews, we had my boys. Everybody was about being together, right? Over the time, the implementation of the welfare state and how the welfare state started becoming big. Now, let me show you something about the welfare. I really believe that the welfare state started off with the right intention, which is to help those who were less than fortunate to get back on their feet or to catch up if they were making minimum wage and weren't able to provide for themselves. But the welfare state also made an incentive, oh my gosh, for people to be lazy. And when you got lazy, lack of jobs, and pair that with what I'm going to talk about, the mistrusting of each other, you get a division. My God. So over the years, we had this perpetuation of a system, and I'm not one of those people that says, "Oh, white folks, they was doing it, they was doing this to us, they was man, they were over the segregating and stuff." No, I don't do that. I don't necessarily believe it's all white people's problem or the racists or whatever they want to do, the establishment or white privilege, whatever that is. And we're going to talk about white privilege in another topic, but I believe it is a conglomerate of a group of people who are not for us, and then that group of people believing what that group of people that are not for us is saying, and then implementing their ideas into our community when our community wasn't based on those things. Did I say that in a good way? I think I did. So let me break that down for you. Meaning, I'm going to make it plain. We have a political system, Democrats, liberals, who created policies under the cusp of I'm helping these less unfortunate people because they can't help it. First of all, let's talk about that. When somebody says, I want to help you because you can't help yourself, and that help comes in a form of giving you something for something you didn't work for or you didn't have to earn, that's called racism. That means they look down on you and say that you're incapable of doing something. And I'm sorry, we as black people has proven over and over and over again that we've overcome things. Even now, we've overcome so many obstacles. We had a black president. Come on, y'all. We got black billionaires and millionaires. I mean, yeah, they made it through entertainment, some of them through sports. You know, we got doctors. We got a lot of stuff, man. We overcame the oppression. We overcame the poverty. There's people who were in extreme poverty. I've watched stories of people who had a broken home, mom was on drugs, dad wasn't around, and yet they still made something positive of themselves. So, no, we don't need your help. What we need is resources. We're going to go there in a different day. But we have this idea that we adopted the idea that we're unable and incapable of helping ourselves. So then this welfare state does this. We have these policies where the man and the woman couldn't be in the house. I remember one of my friends, and I'm not going to name the name, had went and told me the story that when they went down to the welfare office to get some help, they were, down on their luck. He didn't have a job. She was half working, and things weren't as good. So then they asked for this help, food stamps and or Quest card, whatever they call it, and then the people asked the wife if they wanted to put the husband on child support. And she said she looked at him like, what? That's my husband. And this is the going standard. And even if you're not married, they will tell you, I'm sorry, he can't live with you. If you want to be on housing, if you want to get, the man cannot live. So then they split the woman and the man up. So here, I'm telling you what's going on here. Here's the start of the divide in our black community. It's the splitting up of the man and the woman, causing the mistrust between the man and the woman. I remember when I went to court for child support, and me and the mother of my child, we were on one accord that I thought. And we said we was going to take it together, joint custody, all this stuff. We went in there, we said that, right? And then when we went into the courtroom, I sat next to her, but they made me get up and sit across the table from her. Now, that already made me go, what just happened here? Like, I said, why can't I sit over there? And they were already in the courtroom pitting her against me. And then I was just like, wait a minute. And the funny thing was, when that happened, I saw the change in the dynamic of what we went in there for. So then they started going on to the proceedings, and then the next thing I know, they were asking what was the agreement, what do we want to do? I'm saying joint placement, joint custody, at this point we kind of living together, this and this and this. She goes, no, I want sole custody, I want sole placement. And I'm looking at her like, chick, what? We living together, what are you talking about? Like, I was lost. So then there was this big strife, and then the judge was looking at us, so they like, oh, they not together, they can't work this out. So they ruled in her favor, right? I was pissed. I was mad. I was ticked off. I had all bad. So I refiled, and eventually I ended up getting joint placement and joint custody. And we had a schedule and everything. And by that time, we had it broken up and everything. It was just a big mess. I believe that was the start of our demise for some reason. But then there's some other factors that go into that. But that ideal is what child support is, what food stamps, what this whole W-2 and the welfare state does. We put the man against the woman. When we put the man against the woman, here started the divide in the black community. Then we start mistrusting one another. Then that mistrust went to male, or women to women. Like, we won't even work with each other's businesses because we're always second guessing the motives of each other, because we let somebody pull us apart, talk to us in our ears. And this is what I didn't like about the way the courts handle, and even the way the courts handle my situation, is they pulled me to the side to talk to me alone, pulled her to the side, talked to her alone, instead of letting us come together in a consensus and talking things out, which didn't make sense to me. And black folks, we gotta stop letting people do that. Stop letting people pull us away from who our family and the people we are, and then talking in our ear about them. And then we like, yeah, you know what, they may be right. You know what, we have issues. Family members have issues. We have issues within our community, but you don't let some outsider come in and tell us how we should handle those issues. We should come together, sit down at the table with your chips on the table, my chips on the table, or both chips on all parties, chips on the table, and come together. And this is how we're gonna kind of fight this cycle that's already happened. So they pitted us against us as we start not trusting each other in business, not trusting each other with our kids. And I remember back in the day when my neighbor can whoop my butt. Nowadays, you touch somebody's kid, they ready to put you in jail. And their kid could be totally wrong. They would defend their kid to days as long. Back in the day, when a grown-up came and said, your son did this, my dad looked at me like, get in there, you getting it. Because my mom and dad had trust for grown-ups, sensible grown-ups who had sense about themselves, not crackheads or people who ain't got sense about, but the people who had sense about it. They were good judge of character, and they were able to decipher that. We lost that in our community. We lost the discernment. We lost the willingness to want to work together because of one, the welfare stuff, because of one, integration. We being taught ways that are not our own. And I'm not even talking about black folks. We have a certain value, and this is going to be in the next segment. We're going to talk about values, right? And I'm going to bring something to light for you guys about values, and some of our allegiances that we have to certain parties, political parties, religions, and stuff like that, and how black folks value. And the funny thing is, even though we're divided, black people have a sense of values that are universal. And I want to talk about that. So, hey, let me end this segment. We'll be back after this. Hey guys, we're back. This question is going to go with my next topic, about values. And I'm going to talk about political party values. We're always talking about the conservatives and how bad they are. And I don't want to get on conservatism. I want to talk about Democrats and progressive and liberalism, because these are the things that are in the forefront of the black community. Most of our black people are Democrats, they're liberals or progressives. And I really want this question to be answered seriously. Here's a question. Do you believe that liberal or progressive ideology is good for the black community? Please comment, share, like, subscribe, all that stuff. I want to know your answers. And also, I want to know why you believe that. Please put your answers right up under this video in the comment section. I want to know what you guys think. And I will highlight some of you guys' answers in a later day in one of my live videos. So we'll be back after this. Bet you're wondering how I changed so fast. That's because this video is at the end of every video, huh? But hey, just make sure you like, subscribe, push the notification bell. YouTube is changing their algorithm, so sometimes if you don't notify and put me in your list, you might not get my updates. But if not, just keep checking and keep checking. And if you're on Facebook, please like and subscribe and share. If you are listening to this on Spotify, please make sure you follow me on Spotify if you have a Spotify account. Also follow me on iTunes if you have an iTunes music account. Make sure you guys are just spreading news, spreading the word, comment, talk. I just want to hear from y'all. And not only that, make sure you listen to the other videos that are posted in this video, and listen to the podcast. I want to thank you guys. Hey, make sure you follow me. I forgot about that too. Follow me on all my social medias. That is at Chris Conscious. That's at the Wiley Life. And then the only other one is at Speak Music Radio. All right. Yo.